48, second chapter. Yogastha kuru karmani sangam tyaktva dhananjaya siddhi asiddhyoh samo bhutva samatvam yoga uchyate. So Krishna says here, Arjuna, the karma that you do has to be performed in a steadfast way. Yogastha kuru karmani. The previous verse talked about the mentality to be adopted while doing the karma. Karmani eva adhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. You have every right to do your duty in the best possible way, but don't become attached to enjoying those results. And don't consider yourself the cause of the result of that activity, and don't be attached to not doing your duty also. And then here, this is an extension of the previous verse. And here it is said, what to do when the results come. The previous verse talked about the mentality to be adopted towards the result, and how to consider yourself part of the activity and not the result, and also the partial doer and not the complete controller. Whereas here in this verse, what to be done, what is our disposition towards the results. And when we maintain equanimity towards the result, either siddhi or asiddhi, siddhi asiddhyoh samo bhutva, when we become equanimous or when we maintain evenness of mind, samatvam, that is called yoga. So this is the definition Krishna is giving about yoga, which refers to maintaining samatvam in both favorable and unfavorable situations. And we should also be renouncing or detaching ourselves from the results. Sangam tyaktva, from the result, how it produces, in what way it comes. And so Prabhupada mentions here, yoga means to concentrate the mind upon the Supreme by controlling the ever-disturbing senses. So, when we are doing our activity, we should always be controlling our mind, concentrating the mind on Krishna to help us execute our activities, our action, because what is in our control is only what we act, not what it results in. So yoga means just go ahead, do your activity, but concentrating the mind on the Supreme Lord. So that is the interesting explanation Prabhupada is giving here. And since Arjuna, there is no confusion for Arjuna here, because Krishna himself is asking to fight, and Arjuna just has to execute his duty. It doesn't matter whether he wins or loses. That is up to Krishna. Gain or victory are Krishna's concern. Siddhi asiddhyo samo bhutva. So Arjuna is simply advised to act according to the dictation of Krishna. And that, according to this verse, is a real yoga. That following of Krishna's dictation is real yoga. And this is practiced in the process called Krishna consciousness. So, by this process, one can give up the sense of proprietorship. Sense of proprietorship meaning, oh, okay, I own this activity. Therefore, I have to get the result of this activity. I am responsible for the result. That is called proprietorship. Whereas you become servant of Krishna, Krishna becomes a proprietor, and all you have to do is execute the duty in Krishna consciousness. And that is yoga. And so the action item for Arjuna out of this verse or the two verses is that he is a Kshatriya. He has a duty to do in Varnashram Dharma, to act in a particular way so that he satisfies Vishnu. Not that he gets a particular result. His duty is to satisfy Vishnu. Of course, the result comes as a byproduct. if he engages in that particular duty. So that is the end action item for Arjuna after hearing these two verses. So we should be focused in doing our duty, and the message is not to get dissuaded by anything. It could be comments, it could be criticism, it could be discouragement, it could be constant failures or our inability to do certain things. We should not lose our heart because of all this, or because someone says something. You cannot please everyone in this world. There are bound to be people who are not satisfied. But our only criteria is to satisfy the authority, to satisfy the spiritual master, and to satisfy Krishna. And we should also not get distracted by temporary allurements, like if you are traveling in a train. Every station it stops, and in the station there are a lot of sales that are happening. There could be toys, or there could be food, or there could be so many other attractions. You cannot let yourself be distracted and lose the focus on the main journey. Or also get puffed up when we achieve some brilliant things. Because the Lord reciprocates, so he thinks, okay, this person is doing nicely, let me reciprocate, let me give some result. And then if we are in a neophyte mentality, we think, oh, I have done this. See, I am capable of doing all this. I have such a nice, this power, that ability. Without forgetting that the Lord is the one who is bestowing. When Arjuna, after Krishna left, Krishna ended his pastimes, Arjuna was supposed to go and get these queens from Dwaraka to Hastinapur. But the same Arjuna, the same Gandiva was there. But he was defeated by mere cowherd boys. And they actually took them away. Took the queens away. So then Arjuna says, if I was thinking that it was entirely because of me that we won the battlefield, I would be the most foolish person in the world. Everything happened because of Krishna. Because Krishna granted it. Krishna bestowed it. Without Krishna's blessing, we are nothing. We know how many great people in the history, after achieving the heights of success, they have bitten the dust after tasting tremendous success in their lives. So at no point we should be puffed up or even dejected if the result goes either way. So this whole Buddhi Yoga that Krishna is discussing, or even Karma Yoga, which is Karma Yoga, Buddhi Yoga, Nishkama Karma Yoga, they're all, in one sense, they're all the same, because you are not working for your gratification, you are working for the Lord's gratification. They all involve practicing equanimity in loss and profit, victory and defeat. So then we will be able to proceed to the ultimate goal of love of Godhead properly. So Sangam Tyaktva Dhananjaya. We should be freed from any attachment to the result of our action. So detachment from such result actually enables the karma, the work, to be done properly. How? Usually in daily life we notice that only if we have interest in the result, we get enthusiasm to perform a task. Like if, for example, a student, he keeps his aim as securing first rank or 99% in the exam, and which drives him to study harder. But what Krishna is saying here, don't have attachment on the result. if the work has to be properly done. Attachment will curtail the work. How is it? It appears to be a contradiction to the general conventional understanding we have. Won't Krishna's advice here induce laziness and indifference? So, for example, let's take students studying the exams. See, the ultimate objective of a student ultimately is to gain knowledge, is to understand all the concepts nicely. But if the student gets attached to one particular result, to that of getting first rank or 99%, then he can easily lose sight of the actual goal. What is the goal? Goal of getting knowledge, getting the concepts cleared. So he will start by-hearting things, not understanding things, aiming for ordinary rewards. And our efforts will be more to aspire for those ordinary rewards if we lose sight of our actual goal. So the actual goal is, when we want to reach Krishna, be away from these petty rewards. Don't become attached to these small things. The same point we discussed yesterday also. Like for example, related example, not exactly the same point. We had this big festival, say Janmashtami we had in the temple. So our goal was, definitely we had a goal to bring, say, 10,000 people. So having a goal is not an issue. We should definitely have a goal. And on top of it, we should have a plan to achieve the goal. We should make so many phone calls to donors. We should make so many radio advertisements. We should distribute so many flyers. We should go so many door-to-doors and talk to so many people. We should spend so much hours of time. We should do all this preparation. So all of this have to be planned. Whatever we think will achieve the goal of getting 10,000 people, we have to do all of that. But whether they come or not is dependent on the Lord. We should do it with detachment. We should be attached to only executing our plan. Because we have made the goal, we have made the plan. Then what is the point in thinking about the end result without executing the plan? Actually, detachment from result helps perform our activity very well. Because you have nothing to lose. Whatever you obtain, you are not attached. You are not working to get a particular material result. Ultimately, you are working to please the Lord by executing the plan. And whether the Lord grants that result or not is up to Him. A very easy example to relate for this is, say, a cricket match. Very easy to relate. So, the ultimate goal is for the team to play well and score the runs, at least one run more than the opposition team. But if a batsman starts getting attached to a personal milestone, I should get a half century or a century, then you are attached to a particular result, a particular form of a material result, which eventually leads to the ultimate goal. Your end goal is to win the match, not to hit a century. But because you are attached to that result, personal result, that will always weigh on you. You are playing, cautiously. You are circumspect in playing the ball. You will have the mentality to rather stay there and not to hit the ball. You will avoid all risky shots. But if you have, say, no such attachment to scoring a century for yourself, then you will play according to the merit of the ball. Then you will be free. Then there is no attachment. There is no pressure. And in that process, you may even get a double century. What to speak of a century? So, but that doesn't mean that you give up the planning. You just go and play whatever you want to play. Whatever the team decides, whatever the captain decides, you should go and execute. But don't have attachment to a personal goal. So another example is, say you want to buy a beautiful temple for the Lord. So you're going on a real estate, looking at various properties. And say we found one good property that I started liking so much. Oh, it has this much space. So it is good according to my own vision, but it is a little out of my budget, out of our budget. Because we become attached to it, because I become attached to it, I might lose the actual focus and try to offer in contract way more than it actually costs, and thereby lose money in bargaining. We lose the bargaining power. But if we become detached, we can think properly. Oh, whether this will cost so much? Okay, this feature may be good, but is this a good area? If you remove your attachment from that particular thing, then it will make you think properly. It will make you perform properly. It will make you do your karma in a very nice way. So there are many examples we can give. The advantage of doing your karma in a detached way. The other example one can give is, say, assume a situation, say a person is there, and say his father is there. And say his father has a chest pain in the dead of the night. And you are crying, all the relatives are crying, all your family members are crying, and you are totally agitated. And you cannot think properly because of the attachment to the father. You don't know what to do. Just at that time, for example, your friend has come. You call your friend and your friend comes, who doesn't have as much attachment to your father. And he thinks very coolly, oh, this needs to be done. Give him this medicine immediately. Do this. Call ambulance. Call doctor. And immediately things start rolling. And your father is taken care. The person's father is taken care. So how the friend could make these arrangements while this person could not? Because in this case, the person's father was suffering and the attachment of the person to the patient could not enable the person to do what his neutral friend was able to do. The friend, on the other hand, had no such attachments. So attachment brings anxiety. Attachment brings pressure. Attachment brings insanity. We lose focus. While detachment ensures calm and quiet approach. So like this, there are many examples. Again, you can consider the cricket example. Many times we see a player is made a captain, a good player, and suddenly his performance goes down. Why? Because now his mind is on the results. How to get the team to perform well, to ensure his captaincy is protected. So the attachment to the result of team performing well, it disables him as a player, and his performance goes down. But some players, even if you are given that responsibility, they perform very well, which means they are detached. They don't get attached to the result. They just take care of performing the plan, performing their activity. So that is what one should follow. So the point here to be noted is, we should not, again, to mistake that we should not plan for the result. In fact, we should plan very, very elaborately to get the result. But once that is all done, we cannot be bogged down by attachment to the result. Just execute the plan, and then when the result does come, siddhi or asiddhi, whether it is favorable or unfavorable, we should remain steadfast. We should not lose encouragement. I have done my duty. Whether Lord has satisfied, whether I have executed my plan, that means Lord is satisfied. If I didn't execute my plan, yes, there is incorrectness in my effort. That should be corrected. So I'll stop here. Any other questions, comments on what we discussed today?
How does this apply to both material efforts and spiritual efforts?
See, for a Krishna conscious devotee, he considers his material duty also as a Krishna conscious duty. Meaning, whatever he plans in his life, personal life or a career, he will dovetail it with the Lord. Therefore, that also becomes a Krishna conscious activity. But for ordinary person, there is no concept of giving up the result to somebody. So it is very difficult for an ordinary person to follow this, because where will he give up the result? He cannot give up the result. But for a Krishna conscious person, even material, so-called material things, it is considered as part of his Krishna conscious duty. So, does it help?
Yeah.
Any other questions? Okay. So we will stop here.